Hello and greetings. Today we are visiting Ezshwan, my mom, in her studio in San Miguel de Allende, working on a new encaustic piece.
Yes, this one has a lot of collage in it. I'm using life drawings that I did a long time ago. It's a lot of paper collage, and of course it has to be sealed into the encaustic to be permanent. It's getting ready for the next step. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, but
It's evolving. Are you ever concerned about that flame on paper? Does it
oh,
burn?
it's completely, the paper is completely covered in the encaustic, which seals it in, and there's no problem with catching on fire.
So I know it took you a while to create this beautiful and airy studio, which is very important for encaustic. You have metal tables
Oh, yes.
and you do a lot of teaching here, correct?
Well, I'm going back to it after the lockdown is going away. Every table is covered in metal, so each student can have their own workstation. And I will have to start setting that up pretty soon. It's been wonderful to teach. I hadn't really intended to teach when I came here 17 years ago, but an interesting situation came up, a story that I will tell you.
Yes, I would love to know more about how you got into teaching. You've been doing this for how many years?
Well, it's been 16 years here in San Miguel, teaching the encaustic technique. I taught some drawing and painting in the States, but not encaustic. When I came here, I was new to the town and wanted to get involved in the artist community. And the first show I had was called Please Touch the Paintings. Well, that took some convincing to the viewers, but they ended up having a wonderful time. And then one of the visitors went upstairs to my studio and said, "Oh, you're working in encaustic." She said, "Well, I am studying encaustic at Bellas Artes here." And at that time, my first question was, "Well, what's your formula?" And she told me, and I said, "That's going to kill you." Well, that surprised her. I said, "That is not the formula for encaustic. Pure encaustic is beeswax, resin, and pigment. There's no more. There's nothing like that's toxic that's in there." She said, "Well, no wonder I've been getting headaches." And she said, "Well, why don't you teach?" And I thought, "Me?" Then I thought, why not?
And though I've never had the pleasure of taking one of your classes, I have overheard, being in the distance, how patient and your expertise, your vast knowledge of this ancient medium and the protocol.
Yes, there is a protocol. The first day I always tell the students, get to learn how to use the torch. And then, of course, the safety measures. And then we go ahead, and I believe I can help each student get to exactly where they want to go, so they will treat a unique piece. They're not going to paint painting like mine. They're going to paint their own painting.
And I want to review what you mentioned before, that one of your first shows here in encaustic was called Please Touch the Paintings.
Yes.
And explain, please, why.
Well, you know, any gallery or museum you walk into, the guards will say, "No, don't get close, don't touch the paintings." Well, with encaustic, it's such a wonderfully sensuous, permanent technique, medium, that I want people to touch the paintings. I tell my collectors, rub your paintings, touch them, it will make them glow even more. The warmth of your hand brings out the highlights, and it feels so good. So that's why, as I said, the first people that were in the show, came to visit the show, were very, very cautious. They said, "Really?" And pretty soon they were all rubbing the paintings and enjoying themselves.
Interactive art.
Yes.
And I know firsthand that encaustic, though it is a fabulous medium, it's expensive as the medium and the safe atmosphere you have to create, and you have created an oasis here with all this fresh air and green. I want to focus on these. These are cold wax, correct? They're not encaustic.
That's right. This is not heated. It does have solvent in the wax, so you never want to heat solvent. It is still a wax medium, but it's treated quite differently and has a very flat, matte surface, unlike the shiny surface of encaustic.
And you teach this medium as well?
I do.
And you make your own cold wax, correct?
I do. Yes, I do.
And these are some of your most recent encaustics. I think it's a great example of how you have pushed the medium. They're carved, transferred. Do you have a name for these?
I don't. I started out just as a demo on the smaller one and took it to the next size one, and eventually did a full wall size piece, which is now being featured by Saatchi Art.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.